Did you ever wanted to sum a value by distinct values and don't know where to use the function distinct or the function values? So this video is for you. Today I'm going to explain you all the difference between these two functions, where to use one and where to use the other. So stay with me until the end of the video and let's go. Before we start understanding the difference between distinct and values, we need to understand something about our relationships. Okay, so a good relationship, in the good practice of relationships is to have one to many, where the one side of our relationship is our dimensions and the many is the facts. We all know that we group the relationships based on keys. So for instance, here we have our sales territory key, and we will have the same key here. So here we have, let's say, 1, 2, 3. We have 3 different countries, 3 different keys. Okay. And we have here, for instance, sales for the 3 countries. We can have multiple we can have multiple rows with the same keys, but they are the same that we got here. Then when we do this relationship, all the keys that we have here are present here. This is a healthy relationship, okay, where all the keys in our fact are presented in our dimension. Now, let's say that we have in our fact table a key 4 and a key 5, and we don't have it here in our dimension. So when we do the relationship, create a measure, for instance, total sales, and we put the dimension countries and the total sales, every key that we don't have in our dimension will result in a blank row with the values grouped together of all the missing keys. So automatically in our dimensions, a blank row will be created, grouping everything that don't have a key matching the ones we got in our model. This is an unhealthy relationship. It's our role as data developers to understand why we have countries that are having sales and we don't have in our dimension and adjust it. But we know that in the real world, this kind of thing happens and we need to deal with it. Okay, so for today's example, to understand the difference between distinct and values, we will have this scenario where we have keys in our fact table that we don't have in our dimension. Okay, so let's go. Here we have our total sales, okay, and I put it in 2 different tables, one by product and one by continent. I excluded on purpose Canada and United States from my table. So all the sales from Canada and United States are being grouped together in this blank row exactly as I explained it a little earlier. Okay, the other countries are being grouped in their specific continents, Europe and Pacific. Okay, and here, since we don't have the same problem with products, the categories are working just fine. Okay, but let's say, for instance, that we want to do a sum grouped by continent and transform our total sales multiplying by 0.5 if that continent is Pacific and maintain 100% if it's any other continent. Okay, so let's put our value here. As you can see here, Europe maintained the same value. Pacific, the value was multiplied and has half of the amount. is diminished by 50%, just like we asked in our measure. The 11 million is returning null. Why? Because distinct doesn't consider values that have blank keys, blank rows. So United States and Canada are being excluded for this value here, for this total, because they are blank, they don't have keys, okay? So our total sales here is 30 million, where is supposed to be 24 million, you know, because here should be 11 million, 8 million, and who's the 4 millions? The 11 shouldn't be excluded. Do you understand that when we are reporting sales, we cannot exclude the values that don't have a correspondent country in our dimension because that sales have occurred. We don't have it a country because data modeling problem. Our sales team cannot think that they have only 30 million on sales when they actually have 29 million. It's a big problem. So we need to show it, even if we have a problem and 11 millions will have blank rows. We will correct that later, but the value must be shown. Okay? So 99% of the times, we're gonna use value. Why? Because values here is the same measure, except that I trade distinct by values. Values will consider the blank rows. So we'll have the 11 million here. It will group together Canada and United States, and the total sales will be 24 million. The correct value, because here we just wanted 50% less in Pacific. The rest should have the same values. Okay, so for 99% of the times, you will want it to show and use values. Here, for instance, if we put the two measures, we will have the same result. For the distinct, we'll have only 30 millions, and for the values, 24. Because here, distinct is excluding all the blank rows, even when we have all the three categories in our dimension. So here, he is excluding United States and Canada for all the categories. And here he is maintaining it. Okay? When then we use distinct? For very specific reasons. Let's say that let me copy this and put it here. Now let me remove this. And let's say that we want to have total sales here. Sorry, this one. I want an average of the sales by country. Oh, what that mean? I want to see Canada and see how much they sold. United States, how much they sold. France, how much they sold. The average value of each country. So let's put the average value here. So for Europe, we have an average of 2 million. For Pacific, 9 million. What does this mean? That, I don't know, we have 2-3 countries here in Europe. The average of each country is 2 million. The same thing for Pacific. Here, values don't understand that we have blank values. And for him, for it, all the countries blank are one country. We can have 10 countries here. If they are blank for values, it will be considered one value. So the average will be the average of 10 different countries grouped together, and it will be a wrong number. So our real average will be shifted up. If we use distinct, it's the same logic, but with distinct. It will exclude the blank values, and we will have a proper average, because for this, we want to have an idea of the average sales for each country. So we should only consider one country at a time. We cannot consider a row that have multiple countries grouped together, because this will masquerade the number. So in this specific case, it makes sense to use distinct, because we don't want to show the blanks. We only want the ones that we have 100% sure that we have a match in our relationship. So the average of the countries are 4 million. Okay? This is one case in 10 that we will need to use distinct. We need to ask ourselves, I need to use distinct because I want to exclude the blank values, because my measure, my rule of calculations demands it. For 99% of the cases, go for it and use value instead of distinct. Just when your logic in your head makes very specific demands that you will use distinct. The other cases, go for it and use values. I hope that difference is clear, and if you have any kind of doubts, please let me know in the comments below. So, what do you guys think of today's video? Let me know all in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And I see you guys on our next video.